Hi, I'm Tinny from minibulldesign, and today I'm out on the back deck again. And this video is going to be called Beginner number 3. And in this one, I'm going to talk about the SS remote, a very misunderstood piece of equipment. So, I probably should actually call this everything you wanted to know about an SS remote and a lot of stuff you never dared ask. So, let's get started, and I'll tell you about the SS remote. Okay, now, some people have asked me why I don't make a stand for the gravity cap so you can just turn it upside down and use it like an SS remote. Well, that's fairly simple. When you put a gravity cap on, you flip it over, and when you flip it over, the fuel goes out the bottom and the air comes in the tube on the top and it fills your stove. Now, think about that for a minute. If you just held it there indefinitely, all 8 ounces of the alcohol would run out of the bottle. There's nothing to stop it. It would flood the stove, catch on fire, and burn down the whole woods. So gravity cap will not work as an SS remote because there's nothing to stop it from emptying itself. Okay. Nipple cap. Turn it upside down, squeeze it, and it gives you alcohol. If you let off of it and don't squeeze it, the air can't get in, so the fuel can't get out, and it just sits there. So that won't work as an SS remote. Okay, now we get to the SS remote. Let me move the camera in here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is an SS remote. It has a micro nipple here, and the other end of it, of this 2-foot line, is hooked to an M2SB. Now, if you look inside of this, and you can't see it very good because the light's not that good, there's steps in there and channels and holes and all kinds of things. And you don't need to know what they all are. All you need to know is that in order to use this, you screw on a 4 or 8 ounce bottle, one of my 4 or 8 ounce bottles. Turn it right side up, and you're good to go. This line has got to be flat. It can't be higher than... Okay, now, this will regulate the alcohol and keep it right at the level of thereabouts, right at the level of that nipple. As the stove uses fuel, it will flow through this tube, and when the level inside gets down below the top of the bottle, as you can see every now and then a bubble coming up, it will let air in from this vent over on this side, and air will go up and alcohol come down, and it'll refresh itself. But it will always keep the alcohol at that level. Even though you've got 8 ounces of fuel in this bottle, it'll always keep the alcohol at that level. Now, if you put that over against the stove, you can see that that level is just about at the bottom of the silicone. Now, that will burn just fine without a donut wick. This wick will pull it up, and it'll work just fine. But if you want to burn the donut wick, then this is where this remote comes in its own. You can put something underneath this, like this, and move the alcohol level up, way up here, and feed the donut wick right straight ahead continuously with no change, right straight ahead with this. And that's the difference between the SS remote and the Big Gulp and the Dome Top remote. You can keep the fuel right there all the time because this level doesn't change. On a Dome Top remote and a Big Gulp, as you use fuel, the level goes down and down and down and won't feed the donut wick. But this one, the fuel level is always right there. Okay, that's fine and dandy and great and everything else, but it has its downside. For example, if you put this out away from the stove where you can't judge your height correctly and you get it too high, the alcohol level will be above the stove, and it will overflow the stove, and it will continue to overflow the stove until all the fuel, all 8 ounces of fuel is gone out of here. And if that doesn't sound like a forest fire, I don't know what does. So that's the difference between the other remotes and the SS remote. Now I'm going to fire this up, and we'll watch it for a minute and see if we can't watch it function correctly. Let me move the camera back here just a little bit and get things set up, get this lit, and get the water on it. Okay, we've got this M2SB fired up, and the donut wick is burning. Now let's come over here to the SS remote and watch it, see if we can see it feed itself. Oh, there goes a bubble right there. As the M2SB pulls the fuel out of this remote, there goes another bubble. you will see little bubbles coming up. That's air going up, replacing the alcohol that's coming down. It's a vacuum system. This is always under a vacuum because the alcohol is always trying to be pulled away. And as long as this bottle doesn't leak, it will always work perfectly. See if you can get it. There goes another bubble. And that's how that works. And you can see that the M2SB is burning full wick, no difference. And it'll burn that way for the full 8 ounces. Okay, now let's look at the evil side of the SS remote. Okay, here's the evil side of it. First off, if you are on uneven ground and you can't fully judge what's going on, and you get this too high, it will flood the stove. The stove will flood over, and it will continue to flood until you lower the remote. If you don't, it'll dump all 8 ounces right into the stove. Okay, so it can be kind of hard to judge the altitude here. You have to kind of watch the stove for a while, make sure you don't have it too high. Second big problem, in the summertime when it's really hot, if this bottle is under a vacuum, so it's pulling in on the walls of this bottle, if you get this all set up and get it going, the bottle is fairly full, and the sun hits it and warms the bottle up, the bottle will soften a little bit and tend to cave in because it's being pulled on by the alcohol, and it will go in and it'll let a ½ ounce go right into your stove and overflow your stove. So I don't recommend using one of these right out in bright sun. Generally speaking, that's the biggest problem you'll get from them. But you can see where the alcohol level is always right there. There's all kinds of potentials for problems. And I don't recommend this for anybody but the person that's really familiar with alcohol stoves and is really on the ball. This is definitely not for a beginner. Okay, so let's move the camera back and talk. I came out this morning and it was really hot today. It was like 15, 20 degrees. And it's raining and freezing as soon as it hits the ground. Overcast. Not a real nice day. So once again, I was going to go out to the garage and weld today, but we had a bunch of orders come in last night, so I ended up building product again today on Sunday. I built 20 gravity caps today, and that's a lot of work. Very repetitious. So, I think now I'm going to play the rest of the day. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I think I'm just going to go upstairs and read for a while. So, I'm Tinny from minibulldesign. Get out and hike. Take a friend. Enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, try to have a really great day, and try to take some time out to have just a little bit of fun today. You deserve it. Bye-bye.